Hi everyone, welcome to my channel where I discuss all things human design. On today's episode, I'm going to be looking at the 12 different profiles in human design and how they pertain to career. This is meant for educational purposes only. It's meant to be a fun way to drive home the point of these different 12 profiles. And by no means does it mean that you're in the wrong career just because you might not have the career that I mentioned when I talk about each of these 12 profiles. If you're looking to learn more about the 6 lines that make up the profiles or learn more about the 12 profiles, I've linked several videos in the description box below where you can learn more about those. And if you're new here and you have no idea what I'm talking about, welcome. I'm super excited to have you and have you learn more about human design. And I've also linked several videos for you to learn about human design and also find your human design chart for free. So without further ado, I am going to dive right in because we've got 12 profiles and 12 careers to unpack here. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Any feedback, thoughts, or if you want me to go in depth on something further, let me know. I love hearing from you guys. And I will be putting out a lot more videos. If you guys didn't hear, I'm going to be doing a 20-day 20 video challenge over the next 20 days. So make sure to subscribe so you are notified as I upload each new video. Now I'm ready to dive into it. We're going to start off with the 1-3 profile. The 1 is the investigator energy and the 3 is the martyr energy. That investigator energy loves research, and that martyr energy of the 3 line loves the experience, loves the adventure. So when I think about career, I think about the scientist. A scientist is the ultimate 1-3 profile. Again, this doesn't mean you have to be a scientist if you have a 1-3 profile, or if you are a scientist, you don't need to have a 1-3 profile. This is just a way to really drive home that point and think about, okay, 1 is the researcher or the investigator energy. The 3 is the experimenter, the adventurer, that martyr energy. So together that kind of forms this idea around that could be a scientist in terms of career. As I mentioned earlier, this is for educational purposes and mainly just a way to help you think about each of these 12 different profiles and how it applies to our everyday life. When we look, for example, at the 1-4, this is the next profile I'll be talking about. The 1 is still that investigator, researcher energy, but the 4 is the opportunist. The opportunist loves to network. They love working with people. They're a little bit more extroverted. So when I think about the 1-4 versus the 1-3, I think of the 1-4 as the ultimate matchmaker or a recruiter. These are people who, love doing research, but they also love to bring people together. So I think of the 1-4 as the ultimate recruiter. I keep stopping myself from wanting to say energy because I'm so used to talking about human design in terms of energy. But yes, I guess you could say that the 1-4 is the recruiter energy, the 1-3 is the scientist energy. Moving on to the 2-4, we've got the hermit meeting the opportunist. The hermit energy of the 2 is a little bit more of an observer, a listener. They're a little bit more introverted versus that opportunist, which is, as I just mentioned previously, really involved with their network, a little bit more extroverted. When I think about the 2-4, I think of them as the ultimate psychologist or therapist. These are people that are great listeners and they really do observe all the fine details, and they do like working with people, but more one-on-one. So I think of the 2-4 as the therapist energy. The next profile we have is the 2-5. This is the hermit heretic energy. So we've got the hermit, the observer, the one that's great at listening, and then we've got this hero energy, this person who is naturally responsible whether they want to be or not. People just kind of feel that responsibility. So I think of the 2-5 as the doctor. I have now covered these 4 profiles. As I mentioned, we've got the 1-3 as the scientist, the 1-4 as the recruiter, the 2-4 as the therapist, and the 2-5 as the doctor. And now we're gonna move into the next 4 profiles, starting with the 3-5. You all love the 3-5. I think that's one of my most watched videos. The 3-5 always cracks me up because these are people that've got the adventure side to them, and then they've got the 5, the heretic side, that responsible side. So these are people that are not great at taking advice because they literally learn through experience. And because of that, I think that the 3-5 makes the ultimate digital nomad. These are people that are always on the go, always trying new things, always running around. And I think that the 3-5 makes a lot of sense to be a digital nomad. If we move on to the 3-6, of course, this is an interesting one because we've got the 3, that martyr energy, the adventurer, the one that likes to experience all the things, rolled up with that 6 energy, which the 6 is a role model, which is probably why I said rolled up. But anyways, the 6 is a 3 until the first Saturn return. It kind of acts or lives as a 3 energy. So it's like a double adventure. And because of that, I think that those with a 3-6 profile are really great at freelance. These are people who are trying different things and not necessarily attaching themselves to one stagnant job, a typical 9-to-5. These are people that might like to try lots of different things, and then eventually after their Saturn return, they might find that they settle into a role that is more consistent. If we look at the 4-6, I might be a little biased here because I do have a 4-6 profile, but we've got the 4 opportunist energy. Love working with people, love working with friends and friends of friends. My network is everything. Plus the 6, which of course lives as a 3 energy until the Saturn return, and I can attest to that. My life was totally a roller coaster until I was in my early 30s. The 6 is that role model, looking for that more grounded energy eventually. So the 4-6, when it comes to career, I think real estate makes a lot of sense. As some of you know, I just got my real estate license and I love working in real estate. I do some other things on top of real estate, but if you guys are curious about real estate or you want me to make a video about how and why I got into that industry, I would love to. The 4-6 though, I think makes perfect sense when it comes to working in real estate and being a realtor. If we move on, the next profile I have is the 4-1. So this is the opportunist investigator. So again, these are people that love to work with others. They have that extrovert energy, but they also like to research. So very similar to the 1-4. The 1-4 I mentioned earlier is the recruiter energy. However, the 4-1, I wouldn't necessarily say that they are the recruiter energy because that 4 comes before the 1. And I want to take a moment here to explain why this is important. This is important because the first number in a profile comes from the personality side on your human design chart. And our personality side represents our conscious selves versus the design side represents our unconscious self. The second number, wherever we see it in our human design, in the human design profile, that is our unconscious self. And the profile numbers come from the sun, which is our personality. So the first number is going to be what comes up consciously versus the second number, that 1, is unconscious. That's why with the 1-4, I see it as their conscious self loves research and kind of digging into things, and the 4 is a little bit more in the unconscious side, versus here we've got the 4-1, and so it's the opposite. And that's why I don't think just because they have the same numbers, they would have the same career. With that, the 4-1, I think these are people who are actual, great investigators, literally investigators working with people. I could see someone with a 4-1 working in forensics or sort of any type of career that has them working with the law. I think that also makes a lot of sense as well. I don't think they're necessarily the lawyer profile here, and I'll talk about that as I continue, but I do think that they would make a great career in that investigative side of things, whether they're working in risk management, they are an actual criminal investigator, forensics. I think those are the type of career that I would pin for the 4-1 profile. That was the next 4 profiles. I'll just kind of quickly go over those again because I know this is a longer video than usual. We've got that 3-5, which is the digital nomad. The 3-6 is the freelancer until they figure out what they want to be doing, and then it kind of stabilizes. The 4-6 is the realtor or real estate agent. The 4-1 we have as the investigator, the literal investigator. And for the last 4 profiles, we've got the 5-1, which is the heretic meets the investigator energy. These people I think make great CFOs, or people that like to work in data sets or analyzing different things. Those are the 5-1 are naturally very responsible, and they're also research driven. So I think those are the 5-1 are great at solving challenging problems in a business, especially when it comes to finances, financials, data, and numbers. Next up, we have the 5-2, again, that responsible heretic energy, meaning the hermit energy. I think that, similar to before, as I was discussing, the 2-5, I see them as like the doctor energy. But when I think about the 5-2, I see them more as the caregiver energy, doing that long-term care, and perhaps they are a nurse or they are a caregiver. And then we've got the 6-2, the role model and the hermit. Again, as I always mention with the 6, it lives as a 3. It kind of has a roller coaster life until their first Saturn return, sometimes even their second Saturn return, and then the 2. So here, I think of the 6-2 as the ultimate teacher. They take all that wisdom they learned from their time before their Saturn return, and then they apply it, and they are great listeners as well. So I think we have a lot to learn from the 6-2, and that's why I see them as the ultimate teacher. And then for the last profile I have to cover here is the 6-3. Again, the 6 living as a 3, and this is kind of like a double 3. I mentioned earlier the 3-6 being the ultimate freelancer, trying out things until they kind of settle in. And I say that because the 3 is going to be driving their conscious side of themselves and sort of that adventure side, versus here the 6-3 is opposite. And because of that, I think the 6-3 actually makes a great salesperson, someone working, whether they're working in SaaS sales, home sales, tech sales. I think those with a 6-3 are naturally really good at trying out different strategies and also working with others, because again, they're very relatable because of that 3 energy, and it's a different type of relatable than the 4 line. If we recap these last 4 profiles I just spoke about, we've got the 5-1, which I think anything involving analytics, finances, business owner or CFO would make a lot of sense. The 5-2 as the ultimate caregiver, caretaker, or nurse. The 6-2 as a great teacher, and then ending with the 6-3 as someone that I would see in a sales role. Again, this was a mouthful. I know this is a longer video than usual. I hope this was a fun way to learn about the human design profiles from the perspective of the perfect career for each. It doesn't mean that that's necessarily true. Of course, this is meant to be just for learning purposes, just for fun. And thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, as I have a lot more videos coming out very soon.